Hello, my name is Addie, and today we watched the best vampire movie ever, The Lost Boys. We will get into it right after this. Hi guys. So we reviewed the movie The Lost Boys today, and I am here with some very special guests. Special guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm special guest Isaiah Townley.
I'm special guest Nolan Baker.
I'm special guest Jordan Burke.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad that you guys could watch this movie with me. This is one of my favorite movies, as you couldn't tell, and I base my whole personality off of this movie. So, I think there's a lot of stuff that I want to cover, so I want to make sure that I can cover everything. But let's start with the people who have not seen this movie. Just what are your initial thoughts about it?
This movie is badass.
It is.
This movie's awesome. I said it before we started recording. If I was like 13 and watched this, I would have been a whole different person.
We're gonna get to it. I won't go into detail, but the ending solidified this movie for me.
Really?
Like at the beginning, it was like, yeah, it's a good movie. But then by the end, I was like, it's an unforgettable movie because of that ending.
Yeah. What about you, Jordan? What is just your initial thoughts about this movie?
I love this movie so much. I think it just it creates the epitome of what vampires are. I think it makes the vampires cool. I know I joke that Twilight is the best, but I'm lying. It's this movie. It's so good.
There's a lot about this movie that I love, but I think just the initial, just saying the vibe, just as a whole, is just so cool. I don't know a lot of like specifically 80s vampire movies that have this kind of vibe. Like a lot of them are still kind of edgy, you know, but I don't know. This is just, it's its own breed, and I love that about it. I wanted to kind of talk about the characters. So who was your favorite character, or who is your favorite character? Let's start with you, Jordan.
Sam. Aside from because we will joke about it, looks-wise, Sam is my favorite character. He's so fun. I love that he's trying to take on this experience as in an adult eye, and he's trying to be brave, but he's terrified the whole time. I think every reaction he has is completely valid of him being scared, and him reacting to his brother is so much fun. But I love just his energy, his vibe.
What about you guys?
Initially it was Michael, just because I'm a big fan of the trope of like a guy gets sucked into the vampire world and he doesn't really want to be a vampire and he's fighting against his urges and stuff like that. So initially that was what drew me into the movie, but by the end I kind of agree with Sam, where I don't know, I also really love just like when younger people are kind of thrown into these really like dangerous scenarios, but in this movie he kind of still maintains that like childlike kind of view, and he fights back in his own way, and I really like that.
I love the corked up grandpa. I think Edgar is my favorite though. Corey Feldman's character. When getting into the movie, I was like, what is he doing with that voice, man? Because he sounds like this, and it's like it's the dude from Boy Meets World, and it's like that doesn't fit. And then it keeps going. It's like, yeah, you know what? This guy's all right. That's what I would have been doing.
Yeah, I think I've kind of flip-flopped from like really liking Michael to then really liking David, and then getting like the close-up of Dwayne, who is like that one right there. Hot damn! Oh my god! I literally when they were on the carousel, which was like the very first scene, or no, I don't know if it was the carousel. It was when they went into the movie store, and Max is telling him, "Oh, you shouldn't be here," and he's just like looking. Oh my! That was making me feel. Anyway, moving on. I love all the characters. I think that they all are very distinctive, even if not all of them have a lot of lines. But because like I don't feel like you could have like the Frog Brothers without having both of them, even though Corey Feldman's character is mainly the one to actually like talk. But no, I think all of them are just really, really cool. Anyway, I also wanted to talk about like costume design and like set design, stuff like that. What is your favorite costume design or set design, or?
I really like their house. I think it's laid out really, really cool. It's also really big, and I love that it gives them the space to kind of like fly around, especially at the end. It's also really cluttered, which I think kind of creates almost a claustrophobic feel.
Yeah.
And then when they come in, you're like, there's a lot of stuff in this house. This is gonna be a little brutal. It's gonna get messy. So I really love their house.
I mean, from the beginning, when they're kind of not first coming into, when it turns night in Santa Carla.
Santa Carla.
Santa Carla. I really like the video store and the comic book store. I don't know. Specifically the comic book store. Something about it where they open it up through these gates, and it's just like big open like doors, and you can see everyone outside like partying and being rowdy and stuff like that. And then you have kind of like the really chill indoors like comic book area, and people are silently kind of going through. I don't know. I just really like that for some reason. I really like that kind of like weird artificial split between these two communities, where it's like as soon as you step inside, it's almost like its own little thing, and Sam's there, and then on the outside, like the vampires and Michael is doing his own thing. I don't know. I really like that, and the lighting in that scene is really cool, just because it is night, and they don't really return to the comic store again at night, so I kind of miss that like scene later on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say the Vampire Cave. I love the Vampire Cave. It's just, it looks so fun in there. It looks so lived in. There's that big poster of Jim Morrison from The Doors, and I thought it was really funny, like during the kind of montage of Michael's first night there, where it's like it's fading over, and there's just a picture of Jim Morrison there. It's like he thinks he's in the movie, bro. But I liked it. I want to go there.
I do. Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like everywhere is always cluttered. I don't think there is really a location where it's not. You know what I mean? Like everything does seem very like close by and stuff. I love going to fairs and festivals because this movie makes it seem like going to like an amusement park or like a fair is like one of the coolest things ever. And every time I go to one, it's never like this. But I like to dream. But I think everything there's so much intention about every detail kind of with the set and costumes. Now I want to talk about how perfect the music is in this movie. I feel like every scene, all the music like lines up perfectly with each scene. What do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts about it?
I mean, I'm a big Doors fan, so immediately just going into that, I was like, okay, this is gonna be fire. I also had heard Cry Little Sister. I don't know if that was made for the movie, but I've definitely heard that song elsewhere, somewhere. So when it came on during the movie, I was like, hey, I recognize that, and I could get into it, and I think it matches the feel of the movie very well. I also just like whenever like the little notes of like the organ, maybe whenever they first kill, I think David, he like gets spiked in the wall. It's like dun dun dun. I was like, yeah, I was waiting for them to use that because it's such a like a, I don't know, vampire type thing, gothic kind of sound. I knew they were gonna use it, and they saved it just for the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say all that. I like the Doors too. That's all I got to add.
Name 20 Doors songs right now.
Whoa.
Dude, they all sound the same. I'll name one.
Dang. What about you, Jordan?
I would call this soundtrack a perfect soundtrack. I think it really, really fits the vibe. I think, like Isaiah said, the theme, Cry Little Sister, is perfect. And I love that they keep bringing it in. But just little parts of it, it doesn't get like repetitive where you're like, okay, we get it. This is the theme, move on. But they just bring in very little slow elements into it, and I think it's beautiful.
I'm pretty sure Cry Little Sister is an original to the movie.
I think it was written for the movie.
But I think Brady is up in the studio, so fact check that for me, Brady, because he also really, really loves this movie. Do that now, though, please. Anyway.
Right now.
Yeah. Now we can move on to like just the cinematography as a whole, maybe like some shots that you guys liked. Who would like to go first with that?
I want to go first.
Go ahead.
I love that we get to see them flying through their point of view.
I was going to say the same thing.
I didn't realize it until we watched it this time. I always just thought like, oh, this is creative, cute. But it's their point of view, and I think that choice is so fun. I love that the movie starts like that, and I love that it's just You're just flying through.
Just
I
come through.
love it. I also like that it switches between steady and stationary and handheld for certain
Yeah.
shots. Whenever it gets really intense and we're not sure what's going to happen, it's very, very shaky. But I love their point of view. That is genius.
I really like the use of unmotivated lighting in this movie. Like specifically in the last scene, there's that's still of David where he's got the light kind of coming on to him from down below, and it's like we know that there's no light that should be shining on him there. They just do it because it looks sick, and it looks sick. And they do that a couple different times in the movie, and like just because classes have kind of like drilled it into me, like, oh, make sure that all lighting is motivated. I was like, where's that coming from? I don't care. It just looks really cool.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they're killing the people around the campfire, and and they shoot all the 4 vampires, and they're in the tree, and they're kind of like, they look like, you know, bats or like birds coming out. Like it's so dark, and they blend into that kind of like tree. And I've always loved shots of trees in movies, and I don't know, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, and it looks so cool. I also like how dark Michael looks looking up to them as well, and then he finally joins in, and then he falls down to the sand.
Yeah, no, I agree with yeah, the beach scene is such like an intense scene as well, and I feel like they keep the beach scene and then the ending like different kinds of intensity, because like you're seeing that first one for the very first time and you're like, whoa, that's a lot, that's crazy. And then it gets a little bit goofy at the end, but not too goofy. Like I don't feel like it's that cheesy. It still is like 80s cheese, but I think the cheese is good. I think so.
My second favorite shot was going to be when the guy gets shot by an arrow into some electrical like thing, and then his arms shoot off.
Yeah.
I really like that as well, and it definitely dates itself, but I wish more movies would have fun like that. So
I agree. Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing about the flying shots, is that you don't get to see them actually fly until the very end, and I feel like that's such a good idea, because it's like it's saving that last bit to kind of sprinkle in there, so then it's not just like we've seen this over and over again, and it also doesn't, because we haven't seen it, it doesn't make it look cheesy, because it's like, oh, we haven't seen this, so this is pretty cool. But yeah, no, I don't know. I guess if you guys wanted to talk about anything about the movie, you guys totally can. I thought we would spend a lot of time on the ones that I had already listed.
Well, going off like the abilities, I really enjoyed how they slowly brought those in, and like the sunlight thing. A lot of movies use that all the time, and it's like a constant thing, but they really only use it in that one scene when they're escaping the cave.
Yeah.
And it's such a brief moment, but I really like that. I like how subtle all the like vampiric abilities are, except for one thing, which me and Nolan were talking about. I did not like the use of the mind bending in just one scene, and they didn't really come back to it, which I kind of wish they did.
The mind. Oh,
yeah, because they were
the
like
maggots.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's such a cool idea to use, and I thought there was gonna be more like hallucinatory type stuff later on, and it didn't really show up. But otherwise, I really like how they implemented like all the vulnerabilities, I guess, and how it was just like a brief scene where it's like, hey, this is real. Because sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, okay, I don't know how they're gonna go at this. What, are they gonna use everything, or are they gonna try and subvert it? So it kind of kept me on my toes, where it's like, okay, they're using this camera to show people flying. Are they flying? Are they bats? Are they, I didn't know, so it made some interest in what their abilities were.
Right. Actually, thinking about it now, I don't know if this is what it is, but I wonder if the mind-bending thing could also have to do with when Max was over and all that stuff. They're like, oh, we checked this and stuff like that, but was he just basically making them think that it was something different? Because whenever he was like, oh, we checked this and stuff like that, and he was like, well, you can't invite a vampire in because it renders you powerless. So it's like, was he mind-bending the whole entire time that was going on? I just figured that out just like watching this time, but I didn't really think about it before then. I had a really good point. Now I can't remember what it was. Somebody else talk, so it's not awkward.
I really like that they, it's a movie about vampires, and we were told from the very beginning, The Lost Boys is about vampires. in the very first scene when they're on the carousel and you see that group, you're like, those are vampires. We know for sure. But they don't ever we don't see their full form until they're on the beach, which is halfway through the movie. And then we see it a little bit when they're like trying to escape and they break into their lair, and then we don't see it again until the very end. And I like that they don't really show, yes, this is a vampire movie by just throwing it in your face. It's very subtle, and I think that's what makes it so much cooler than every other movie, is that we're like, no, they're vampires. We don't really see it very much, but they are. I think it's a very smart choice that they did that.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you for saying
I
that.
got you. Yeah, I knew. I got you.
Because this was your guys' first watch, did you think that Max was the head vampire?
He was like, oh, I'm not coming in until you invite me. And that was like, hey, even if nothing else happens with this guy, even if the garlic thing, like, even if that didn't work, even though that didn't work out, I was still like, this guy's definitely a vampire. 100%. But it was still cool. Like, I liked that it was kind of a misdirect on top of a misdirect. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, I already kind of got a little suspicious by the first, like, video store thing. Because a lot of times I watch movies and I'm like, oh, it would be so cool if they did this. And I think I'm so smart, and it's just what they're doing. And I was like, it would be so cool if the boyfriend was actually a head vampire or something. And that's just what they did. But then, yeah, also when he invited him in the house, I was like, that reminds me of something. It's probably on my mind because we were having a Tales from the Tabletop Vampire Edition.
Whoa, check it out.
Crazy spoiler.
Crazy. So it was kind of on the mind where it's like, oh yeah, inviting is don't do it. So I kind of caught up on that, but it was still fun. Yeah. And even if you kind of know the twist, by the end I was like, okay, what's his final form gonna be or something like that. I was still waiting for the twist, so the anticipation was still there, even if I knew he was gonna be the guy.
Yeah. When I first had watched this, I don't remember. I was probably around 13 or 14, and it's funny because I think I'm just stupid and I don't realize when the bad guy is the bad guy. And once they like checked to make sure he wasn't, I was like, no, okay. And then I just like, I forgot about it like kind of afterwards. Which is funny because like you know how like every time it would show like the point of view of like the vampires coming to like get somebody, and then it did that for him, but he never died. And I guess that just didn't. I'm just stupid. Like I didn't think about it. I was just like, oh man. And then just like kept going back to what it was. But I think even if like us as the audience, we know, like obviously they don't in the movie, but also, sorry, I just keep going back and forth and stuff like that. The mom was such a good casting. And I think it was just because I also just like that actress, but I feel like she just is such like a sweet, caring mom, stuff like that. And I feel so bad. Like, I feel so bad for her in this situation, you know? The house, she's divorced, she's having to do this, pick up a job. Now her new boyfriend is a vampire. I mean, it just kind of keeps piling up on the list and stuff like that. But it's a little bit sad, but I don't know. Also, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I meant to mention her in the beginning when I was talking about my favorite character, because I really liked her as a character. And she also isn't like, she doesn't believe them, of course, but she's not like so stubborn like other characters who play that kind of part in a story, where once things start to kind of tip in their favor, she's kind of, even when she doesn't believe vampires are real, she was still at the dinner date and she was like, I'm really worried about my kid. Like, he said it was so much conviction or something like that. And I was like, dude, this is such a sweet like mom. Like, we don't really get a lot of like caring parents, especially in like genres such as this. So I really enjoyed that. And also like the grandpa, he's like just a genuinely like caring guy. Like, there's no, I don't like twists about parents as much. Sometimes I just need a caring parent figure in a movie. Not everything has to be secretly evil. So.
I agree. Yeah, because whenever she was like talking to Michael, and she's like genuinely like, "What's going on? Like, I wanna know about this." And it hurt me so bad. She cares so much about him and stuff like that. But I guess we can wrap this up though, and tell me what your final thoughts are, and maybe even the score. So who would like to start with that? Jordan.
This is the best movie I've ever seen in my life. Go watch it. It's fantastic. And if you don't like vampires, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. And I give this movie a 15 out of 10.
Oh, yeah. What about you guys?
You go first.
The other big vampire movie that, for me as a kid, was Blade. That was my vampire movie, and this gives me very similar feelings to when I watched Blade as a kid. And honestly, I can't really think of anything that I would really take away from it. So it's probably like a 9.5 for me.
Dang. Okay. That makes me feel. I was gonna say 9, but not talking about it. This movie's a 10. It does. It knows exactly what it's supposed to do, and it does it. And what else do you need?
I agree. Cause like I at least whenever I talk to people about vampire movies, I feel like this vampire movie specifically is popular, but I just don't feel like people talk about it all that often. And I feel like it really needs to get more hype. I think it's a 20 out of 10. Definitely I would recommend watching it. Thank you guys so much for hearing about this movie review. It's a really, really great movie. Sorry we kind of spoiled everything, but check us out in the new Cinema Sit Down next week. We will see you later.